Hello, hello, hello. What's up, everyone? I hope you're all doing well and had a fantastic weekend as usual. Pretty chill from my side, but definitely very tired today. Very good predictions last week for until this week. Last Sunday, I mean, we will do a recap, but yeah, last Sunday you wanted to see a dump below the wick, so below the range low, which is exactly what we got. But as always, if anyone is in the live chat, could you let me know if everything is good, the sound, the video, and so on. Not then we'll just dive into everything. Okay, so I guess I'll dive into everything and then we'll see if we have anyone in the live chat to answer some questions. But with that said, we'll start with the announcements as always, then the weekly recap, and finally dive into today's price action and what we can expect to happen this week. So for the announcements, most of you guys already know, if you want to trade with a 30% fee discount, that's a lifetime deal. On BitUnix, you can sign up with the link. It will be down in the description of the live stream. And of course, if you want to get access to our imbalance indicator, which helps me give you the support and resistance levels, then the link will also be in the description of the live stream. It's basically in our courses. So that's it for the announcements. Very simple. And now we can dive into the weekly recap. So this one will be very quick, by the way, because I was not super active this week. But last Sunday, that was the prediction that we had. So the zoomed out prediction was this one. We wanted to see a breakdown this week, but we wanted to see a Monday dump, Tuesday, Wednesday pump, and then reverse on Thursday, Friday. Hindsight, I have to say that's a personal no, but maybe it was naive to expect a pump after a Monday dump. But in any case, you wanted to see a Monday dump and you wanted to see a breakdown below $100,000 this week. Both of these things happen. Now, in the live as well, we did give a local resistance level, which was 110.6. It was a very easy short to take here at the imbalance. It was to maintain this lower high. We expected the weekend dump. So we had a lot of confidence to expect rejection. Personally, I did not take it because I don't trade the weekends. Of course, this is hindsight, but it was a bit of a mistake because guess what happened? We did test this imbalance perfectly, got an amazing rejection, and then from there it was just down. This one basically offered the high of the week. So again, a bit of a mistake on my part. This could have been an amazing short position. Sometimes I guess I have to learn to deviate from my rules, but yeah, very good prediction once again, but failed to capitalize on it. Then on Monday, we had broken my support, which was where I wanted to see the bounce from, to then open the short position. Reckon. To then open the short position up there. We didn't get the bounce, of course, but on Monday I didn't take any long position, so no loss taken. And then we move forward in time. I came out with a nice plan on Wednesday. So I wanted to see a pump into that resistance to see a bit of a relief rally towards, so a bit of a relief rally today towards $104,200, which of course could have offered a short position. We got the move up. If I show you the chart, so we did end up getting the move up, did not break the low, so I couldn't catch along. And for the short position, I was waiting for the imbalance, which never appeared, unfortunately. So even though this resistance offered the high, I mean the lower high of the week, you could call it, for a very nice rejection of, didn't even check how much that was. From the resistance, I mean 5%, that also would have been an amazing short position. Of course, if you cut the absolute high and closed right at the low, still 5%. If you took a bit less, that would still have been, in my opinion, a very easy 4% trade. Personally, as you can see on the chart, I didn't have no imbalance. So even though yet again it was another very good prediction right there, no, not right there, my bad. Another very good prediction right there, I didn't get the trigger for my short position. And then on Thursday, that was Thursday, yeah, I was looking for a long position because since we didn't have an imbalance, I didn't believe that this high would hold because that was not the biggest bull trap in my opinion. So I still wanted to see a bit higher. We got the job. We got the imbalances on the job, but this one just hit you lower, and I got stopped out of my long position. Friday, same thing. Not much was done because I was just either waiting for this to get taken out or nothing to be done from my part. So that was the recap for this week. I will say, even though we did have, at least I did have very good predictions, I was not able to capitalize on them. I go back to this imbalance up here. I always tell you guys imbalances dictate the market, but you can see imbalance failed. We shared this level. I did not short it. Massive short position. And then on Thursday, we moved into my resistance, which I predicted, but no imbalance. Another very nice short trade. And once again, didn't capitalize. At least this was part of my strategy because, well, I always wait for the imbalance. But with, oh, hello Jean-Pierre, and hello Orange, Cyan, Magenta. First time I see you. I hope you well, brother. I hope you both are well. Talking super good today. I love it. But we've done the recap this week. Can remove this. We are getting a bit of a move up. Okay, so we can dive right into the charts. Daily time frame. Still the daily imbalance above. 12-hour. If anyone is wondering about this imbalance, the reason that I'm not taking it is because the open got tested. So if you take the open, go on the 1-hour chart, as you can see the open. On Bybit, it was not perfect, but still I do consider it a tap of the open. But if you check out Binance, this one was perfect. Take the imbalance, the open, go on the 1-hour, and you can see that the open of this imbalance was literally tested to the dollar on Binance. So that's why I'm not marking this imbalance nor on Bybit nor on Binance, because it has already been tested in my opinion. So back on the 12-hour, this is the daily imbalance, which is also an imbalance on Binance, as we just saw. We have an order block. So we did talk about this resistance on Fridays or Thursday's update. Forgot when that was, but I would still focus on this above us. Now let me check something because I did see these two. Then take this. And this will be around still 102.1, which is that wick, by the way. Let's see. From this, point of control. From this, point of control just below. Okay, so that would be a support. 30 minutes. For now, I think I just want to hide this because I want to focus on this support. So let me hide 102.1. Still an important level to keep an eye on because it was the low of the range. So you always want to keep this on your chart. That would be my support to the downside. Just below the daily open. Thank you for the TAs. Welcome. Sincerely appreciate it. Well, it's always my pleasure. It's my job, so it's just something I do as a bonus, I guess. But I do love helping people, and of course, I do love getting my analysis correct. Getting wins is even better, but sometimes you miss them. So I think this is what I would focus on this week. Let me just check one more thing, guys. From this high, it's just below. And from this high, that's right in our resistance. So that would be nice. If you want, keep an eye on this anchor VWAP. But for me, as I have my resistance, I'm going to remove it. But just keep in mind that's another conference that we would have into that resistance. Remove this. One last thing. Value area low. Perfect. Okay, this value area low is just a bit above, but that's one last thing. From here to, okay, that's good enough. So how can you play around these levels? Well, this week, or maybe it doesn't have to be this week, but I would love to get this week. I do believe that this high will get taken out. This was my bias on Thursday. I still maintain it, but also this low will get taken out. What I would love to get, so Thursday. So I would say we have two scenarios this week. I would say maybe not for the week, even though I do expect them to play out, but for tomorrow mainly. My favorite one would be to just get a small drop from here or go sideways, then move up tomorrow on Monday, get a good Monday high up there, reverse it to the downside, tap into the support, then offer a bounce before we continue lower and finally hit $97,000. Think that would be my bias for this week. The alternative scenario would be that we drop today. Okay, so we drop today into the support, pump, and then dump. I wouldn't like this one as much because I would love to leave these imbalances as targets. Remember, these are two 4-hour imbalances. If I zoom in, one imbalance, two imbalance, so you have two imbalances. I would love to keep these as a target. So if we move up, we get the reaction. These would be my first target for the short position. And then of course, if we get this would act as a nice support level for a potential bull trap before the big drop to the downside. That would be my thought process. Am I happy with that? I mean, I like it. I don't mind it. I don't mind it at all. Where's the midpoint? 102.9. Let me check. 1 hour. Ooh, that's right on this imbalance. So that would be a local support that you could look for. Just like last Sunday, we had the local resistance at 110.6 right there, which offered the high of the week. I wouldn't long this one because last Monday I was very confident that we would see a Monday dump. This Monday, I mean, I'm confident that we will see a Monday pump, but I'm just wondering if it's from here or if we hit my support first. But I think I'm happy with this plan. Okay, so pretty much my bias here is, I mean, it hasn't changed. This high will get taken out. This will get taken out. $97,000 will get tested. It's not that it's too easy. I will admit we've had a lot of volume on this job, so a lot of fear. I can show you especially on Ethereum. On Ethereum, we had four 12-hour imbalances, which is massive, of course. So I'm not going to say that this was an easy low because the volume and fear was clearly there. But I don't know, just looking at Bitcoin, we jumped from the all-time high to here just to take out $100,000, and then that would be the low. It's too easy. Plus, on top of that, in my opinion, it makes sense that we are bouncing here. And that's why last week I always said $100,000, even though, yes, we did talk about $97,000, but my first target was $100,000 because that's a massive psychological support level that we have been above since June. So that's like, what is that? 5 months? So we've been 5 months above a massive psychological level. The first time you test it, it does make sense to bounce for a bull trap and then continue lower. That just makes sense in my opinion. Of course, I could be wrong on the path, but I don't know. I'm confident that these O's will get taken out. Would you like 97K to get hit this week? Yes, I would say 97K would be amazing. Especially if we can hit it maybe on Friday, somewhere at the end of the week. I think maybe somewhere, something like we got there. I don't think it's gonna happen, honestly, but a bit of a thought process for today. We got the weekend closed down there, which is when I flipped bullish, if you remember, on the Sunday update, because we closed the weekend near the lows. So if we can get something like this, close the weekend near the lows before pumping next week, I think that would be very appreciated. Because I would be surprised if we don't get some sort of a reaction inside of this area. As I said in the previous updates, $97,000 first level. Second level, if anyone is new and you want to mark it out on your chart, for me it's too far away for now, but it would be this order block, pretty much around $94,000. So these would be two very big areas. I really like $97,000. This one I like a bit less, I have to admit, 94, but it's still a level to be aware of. Okay, guys. Okay, so let's see if anyone wants to trade today. For me, I'm too tired and I'm not super confident on this level, but 102.8, that would be your first level. So with that said, that would be it for Bitcoin. You can move on to altcoins and Ethereum, which is an altcoin. What do you about holding important moving averages on the weekly like 50? I don't really look at moving averages, I have to be honest. I do have it on my chart constantly, but I pretty much never put it. One thing I would say about this moving average is that, well, we tested it once, twice, three times, four times, and this is the fifth time. So at some point, of course, you will expect this to break. Is it the time to break it? I think yes. But then the question would be that, do you get a deviation below it and then reverse, which would be a very nice bear trap in my opinion, or is the break actually signaling something a bit bigger and maybe a drop back to $70,000, let's call it. For me, I don't think that much far in time because it doesn't really affect my trading. My levels to the downside and to the upside remain same. To the upside 107, 106, to the downside 97, 94. So this high time frame bias doesn't really affect me. But one thing definitely to note is that this moving average has been tested a lot. And how about we get a deviation, which actually I guess is lining up with my plan. Maybe a deviation below it to 97, 94, a bit of a bounce, and then continue lower. I don't know if this bounce makes sense, honestly, but we'll have to analyze it in time. But yeah, I don't really look at moving averages. I don't think they're super important. I mean, they are important actually, don't get me wrong, but for my strategy, I mean, I've been able to call moves over and over again. Remember, guys, we literally called the all-time high to the dollar at $126,000. I mean, I did this without any moving average, without any liquidity heat map, without any sort of external. I don't want to call it BS, but I think people overuse it because they don't really know how to do TA. Okay. Do we have any scam week on Coinbase? Last week we did have a scam week, which was a good conference. Remember, guys, if anyone is new, one of the very strong conferences that we would get lower prices is that we had this scam week on Coinbase, and guess what? It got taken out. Any scam week? I don't look at them very often. Nope, nothing. No scam week. Let me look at something quickly. Maybe there. Maybe there. Maybe there. Okay, now it's not gonna load, I guess. Okay, so nothing to note. Nothing to note. How low do we go this time? What do you mean this time? Are you talking this week? Are you talking if we are in a bear market? What do you mean this time? Would you like my short strategy to default and blow up? I think you know my answer to that. Hoping for support long this one. I do believe that these support levels will offer nice long positions, especially if we drop. So if we drop before reaching $106,000, so if we get something like this week, where let me hide this for now. I will keep this as my main plan. Main Sunday plan. So if we got something like this, so a drop first, I do believe that this would be much more bullish. Don't believe we get this, but of course if we do, then $97,000, $94,000 just become much more interesting support levels for a bigger reversal to the upside. First target will remain $106,000, $107,000. So if we drop first, just be aware of these levels. I mean, we will be aware of them. They will be extremely important. If we pump first, they're still important levels, but then we'll have to see how big the bounce gets. So yeah. This time as current downtrend. Well, for the current downtrend, I would say $97,000 would be. I mean, it literally has been my target. I'll be honest, you guys don't have to look very far, just look at our YouTube update. $97,000 has actually been my has been my target since breaking the support at $120,000. So could I get front on? Of course I could. This has happened in the past and this can happen again. Just like I got very luckily front on this freaking high. I got front on by $200 on this high, even though I was waiting for this level for such a long time. I could get front on $97,000, but this time I would be very surprised if the lows are in. I would be very, very, very surprised. Let's just put it that way. Will you buy spot BTC? Nope, I'm not very interested in buying spot Bitcoin. I'm mainly invested in stocks, silver, gold, and that's it. Even though I don't own gold at the moment, I have silver. But crypto, I'm not super interested in investing in crypto. Just because my thought process is, I can give you, for example, one stock that, I mean, in my opinion, was a very easy buy, which was AMD. The support, I think, are still on my chart. So down there, this is where I bought AMD. So when I bought it down there, my target was very simple. It was the all-time high. So when you look from this low to the all-time high, that's a return of 200%. And that was very fast as well. Okay, that was literally in a couple of months. In what, 6 months, 7 months? If I'm buying Bitcoin on a certain drop, let's say we drop to here, I'm looking to buy Bitcoin on spot, 200% would be so far away that it's just not worth the time and the capital, in my opinion. I mean, look how far away 200% would be. To literally be at $280,000. So it doesn't really make sense for me to buy Bitcoin up here, even if you drop a bit. I don't know. Maybe if you drop below $50,000, will this ever happen? I mean, it's possible. I don't really care if it happens. I'm a trader. So if it happens, then of course buying Bitcoin on spot will be very interesting. But once again, that's too far in time, and I'm not really too bothered about this massive target to the downside, because we could literally bottom at $94,000 and then get to new all-time high. Unlikely in my opinion, very unlikely, but possible. And that's why we trade the reactions. But now we can move on to Ethereum. So Ethereum, we pretty much had the exact same plan on as Bitcoin last week. We wanted to see a Monday dump to pump into resistance and then drop. And what did I say, guys? We had too many lows to clean up. So these lows were not going to hold, in my opinion. We had 1, 2, 3, 4 lows. And these lows were not going to hold up, in my opinion. We got the job as expected. We broke these lows, but just like Bitcoin, after the Monday dump, we struggled to get a pump and just continued lower. Now on Ethereum, I do want to do a bit more analysis, because I think investing in Ethereum on big jobs could be a bit more interesting than Bitcoin. So on the daily, what happened right there? We filled the daily imbalance. You can see fill the daily, got a bounce. To the upside, that would be a resistance, but I'm not very interested in trading Ethereum. We can look at this if you want. Monthly. Look at this. Weekly. You have a weekly imbalance. 3-day. Daily. Okay. This support looks very nice, I think, on Ethereum. Ooh, it's a bit far off. 2,500. I still haven't put music in the live streams, guys. So if you guys think it's too quiet, sometimes we'll add music next Sunday. But some of you said that you didn't really care about the music, so I couldn't really bother. Take this. Interesting. That would be the same resistance as Bitcoin. I would really like for 2.5, 2.6 to get tagged on Ethereum. That would be such a big drop compared to Bitcoin. My bad. Such a big drop. Hmm. Ethereum, I mean, we have this amazing area below to around 2550. Just don't know if it's gonna get tagged. My bias would definitely be that it gets tagged, but yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think. 30%. That would be such a big drop. Still have 30% lower to go on Ethereum. Yeah, I think that would be my chart on ETH. I would keep it like this. Be aware of that liquidity, 2.9. If lost to 2550, let's call it. I think if anyone is interested in buying spot Ethereum, that would be a very interesting area. If we can reach it. On the local time frames, I would say same thing as Bitcoin. You have this imbalance order block up there. The difference on Ethereum is that I don't think this 12-hour imbalance got tested. Don't think this one got tested. Yeah, it didn't. That would be a second resistance, bit higher, but I think this first one is good enough to keep an eye on. So just like last week, Ethereum, same plan as Bitcoin. If it rejects this order block, we can look for lower, for new lows. If broken, you look for the next imbalance, which would be on the 12-hour. Just take the open of this candle, 3.7. I don't love this one. I think this one is a bit more interesting. Any ugly lows to clean up maybe on Ethereum? No, I mean, we have two imbalances, that's it. No ugly lows to the downside. Yeah, this one will get filled. 3.4. I think this one will get tagged. That would be your support. Or would be this one on Binance. No, that would be this one. Yep, that would be the 4 hours. So that would be your support on Ethereum as well. If you want to mark it out, go ahead. Once again, for me, I don't trade Ethereum, so yeah, but I think Ethereum would be the same plan as Bitcoin for me. Here's the daily open. Okay, so Ethereum, same plan once again. Same. If we can move up, drop, bounce, drop. And then, of course, break the lows down here. That would be nice on Ethereum. Yeah. So I don't think it's too quiet. Okay. Okay, whoa. So how come crypto going down, but ICP and Zcash plus few up? Well, it doesn't mean that because crypto is going down that every single other coin has to go down. That's just not how crypto works. Some other coins can pump. We can look at ZEC, we look at it in a bit. We look at, what did you say? ICP. We look at both of these in just, well, now actually. Can you talk more about how to maintain your cash position and what requirements you have for your cash position? You mean investing? Cash position? Are you talking about investing? I don't think it's too quiet. What do you think about shorting Bitcoin with low leverage during the bear market? I think it's amazing, but you have to find a resistance. You don't want to short down here. So for example, if you waited for that resistance up there, instead of waiting for it to get back to the dollar, as I was waiting for because I traded with high leverage, what you could have looked for is, for example, on Binance, you had 4-hour imbalances and you had taken this high. So in this case, what you could say is that since you have a lot of imbalances, volume is very high, we expected lower prices, you have the imbalances, and my personal resistance was just a bit above, you could definitely have shorted Bitcoin with low leverage. So you short there, stop loss maybe right there. Your target would have been $100,000 and you have a very nice 5-to-1 RRR. very easy trade to take and very probable to play out. You can look at our past updates. I'm not lying, I was very bearish up there, and well, it did play out. So of course shorting with low leverage is a very good idea, but once again you have to find the levels, because if you short it down there, you would now be underwater. And guess, I mean, what happens if Bitcoin comes up and breaks this level? You need to have an exit plan. Just like up there, the exit plan would have been entry, exit would have been on the open of this 4-hour imbalance. Okay, so you have an exit. So once again, good idea in my opinion, but you need an exit. You don't short on the drops, you buy on the drops, you short on the pumps. Okay? So this week, if you move up there, could you do something like this maybe? Open a short, stop loss, I would say very safe would be above this high, because taking it would be a sign of strength in my opinion. And then target down to $97,000. Once again, that's a 6-1 RRR. So very good trade, very easy to take, especially on low leverage. So yeah, I think it's a good idea. What do you think? Okay, I strongly believe we are still about to moon before bear market, but difficult to reason in current sentiment. Well, you don't really want to trade your bias. You want to trade the levels, okay? So if you had a level at $100,000, so 99, let's call it, you could have longed it. Now guess what? Your stop loss is to break even, and then you ride the trade higher. But if you just want to buy because you think something is gonna happen, I think that's a very reckless thing to do. For myself, I just don't expect another new all-time high for quite a bit, I have to be honest. I could be wrong. I couldn't care less honestly if I'm wrong, but what you could do, just like with the short position, you can, for example, if you drop, you get a good reaction, you open a low leverage long position, you put your stop loss below these lows, for example, and you target a new all-time high. Is it going to play out? Just looking at the charts, to me, it doesn't really make sense to expect a high time frame low down there. But guess what? If that plays out, you have a very nice another 5-1 RRR. And if you're able to catch the low a bit more precisely, very nice voice crack, then what you can do is, for example, your entry will be a bit lower, your stop loss will be a bit tighter, and in this case you will get a much bigger RRR of 10-1, for example. But does it make sense to expect a low right here? I've been saying it. No. Again, I could be wrong, guys. I'm just a normal guy and analyzing the charts. I have been wrong in the past. I could be wrong again. But one thing I do have to say, it's not very often that I'm wrong on the high time frame biases. Up there, we predicted the swing failure pattern, not for that massive drop, of course, but I did say that I wanted to see a drop to this first support right there. And I did say that if you lost that level, then you would expect a massive drop lower, which did happen. So that's kind of how I operate. I don't really care about saying that, oh, this will be the all-time high. Just you take the short, you wait for the drop. If you lose the support level, you expect much lower prices. So same thing right here. I'd say if you break $107,000, or to be maybe a bit more safe, clear this imbalance at 100, just let's call it $108,000. I think that would be a very big sign of strength. And in this case, I could say that, okay, maybe we have bottomed. And if this happens, then I can wait for a retracement, open a big long position, and then look for a move higher. But for now, my bias remains to the downside for the reasons explained a lot. I would like to understand the system. Is there somewhere I can go to get the education? Orange sign, yes, it's in the description of the live stream. You have a link to our website, and we sell courses. I'm not a big fan of selling stuff. That's why the YouTube and the Discord is free. But since you will get access to my indicator, which I have pretty much put my life into, I don't want it to get overtraded and give it out to anyone. Plus, I just think it's a bit fair to pay, because I've literally put years of my life into this indicator. So if you pay for the courses, yes, you'll get access to every single thing that I look for when trading imbalances. You will also get access to the indicator itself. What's your red line for bear market start? $94,000 probably. $94,000, I would say. Yeah. Yeah, probably 94,000. But I mean, the one thing that the man these what the one thing that I don't like about these kind of invalidation levels and stuff is what can you I mean, I guess okay, it's a good mindset to have because then you can be much more cautious on the longs, but like what changes down there? You know, I'm not gonna short the breakdown. Just like right this, I didn't long the breakout. You want to short the breakout, long the breakdowns. Of course, you need to have a plan in place. So to me, even below that level, not much is gonna change except that I will be expecting $85,000, which would be another $10,000 drop. But yeah, for me, I'd say lose $94,000. $85,000 is extremely likely, and at this point, I would say probably $74,000, which means $70,000. But that's so far ahead in the future that I just could be wrong on this bias. And for example, we drop like this, we get for example 3 daily imbalances. Maybe I see a low time frame long position, I take it, and then we get a big reversal. That's possible. Once again, very unlikely in my opinion, but possible. And that's why I don't like to predict too much in the future. It's just the plans on the high time frame can change very, very, very quickly. Yes, investing for cash position. Well, for myself, when prices are going up. So, for example, right now I did sell a lot of my stocks. I will say, on Wednesday I think I sold some of my stocks, and right now I'm holding 50% cash, even more. So when prices are very overextended, and also I've made a lot of money on these stocks. For example, Sophie is one of them. Literally bought it at $13. It's now at 31. I sold at 29. So when I made a lot of money, what I like to do is stay in cash, at least for me 50%. So then if we keep on going up, I make more money. But then if we have a big drop, as we had right there, I can take advantage of these very nice stocks that I like, buy them near the lows, and then aim for a big reversal to the upside. The problem is that if you're sitting on 20% cash, 10% cash, for example, it's very it's not impossible. At least on Bitcoin, it's fairly simple, I would say, but on the stock market, it's very hard to time big drops to the downside. So that's why on the stocks, I don't trade stocks. I don't like trading stocks. But once again, what I like to do is when you are very overextended, I keep a lot of cash on the side. So then when you get a job, you can find a stock that you like, buy it at the lows, and then make very easy money on the move up, on the moves higher. Because investing in stocks, especially US stocks, is very easy. Every single time in history that the stock market has dropped, it has recovered. So you pretty much have, it's kind of reckless to say, I know, but you pretty much have a 100% chance of making profits if you pick the right stocks. Because the stock market once again has recovered from every single drop. So if you sell on the pumps, even if you sell early, it's okay. You've made profit. You sell, you lock in profits. Let's say you sold there, but then guess what? You move higher, you come back down, you buy heavily at the lows, and you repeat the cycle. Price moves up, you can sell at whatever point you think is a good point to sell, and then it doesn't matter if it goes higher, because then if you get another job, you buy again, and once again you repeat the cycle. So investing is fairly easy. Most people, I mean, even in investing, people do make money. I will say most people do make money, especially in the US stock market, but they make far less than they should, in my opinion. I've talked to some people that have a lot of money in the stock market, and they don't make a lot of money, in my opinion. But that's too much shopping. You should play Playboy. Who's Playboy Cardi, bro? I'll be honest, I don't know any new artists, especially in the rap scene. I don't listen to a lot of rap. It's probably one of my least favorite music styles. Even though I do listen to metal, which is funny, I listen to less metal now because I'm a Christian. I don't love metal, but I do listen to metal, but I don't listen to rap. I really dislike rap. I don't know why. So maybe we can do a bit of analysis on Zcash because someone talked about it. We did give a support last week, which I don't think hit. Yeah. We had the support below. We still wanted to see higher because we had not seen imbalances at the highs. If you remember on the 4 hour, I didn't see a buying climax. As you can see with the imbalances, we didn't have any imbalance, so I still wanted to see higher. You can see when the first imbalance appeared on the 4 hour, that's when you got a drop. And guess what, on this high as well, when you got 3 imbalances in a row, that's when you got another very big drop to the downside. So Zcash, very interesting right now. If anyone is interested in the analysis, we can do some. Maybe I can start with this. Uh, this daily has been recovered. Hmm. And if anyone is new, by the way, we did also give the support down there, which well offered a massive bounce higher. That was a while ago, so I'd be surprised if the people who long this are still holding on to the long position. That would be very interesting to know. Hmm. I don't know. I'd say you have this one resistance above, probably this one. From 670 to 690. A lot of volume traded up there. Oof, that's a lot. And also a lot of volume traded down here. Yeah, so Zcash, I mean, do you want to trade this coin at this point? I don't know, you have resistance up here. I would definitely say that historically speaking, looking at this coin, every single time it has pumped, it has offered a massive reversal to the downside. I don't think this time would be any different. Of course, I could be wrong, but that would be an interesting resistance, which if rejected, you would look for Zcash to probably drop back to at least, let's say, $400, 400 below that low pretty much. Let's call it $450. If you break it, of course, then just higher prices, in which case there's not much to do. Do you want to trade the breakout? I don't know. But yeah, I'd say that this would be a pretty interesting resistance for a potential reversal to the downside. Just want to check something quickly along with Bitcoin actually, because these coins are sometimes interesting to look at. Do you like classical music? Sometimes, even at the gym, sometimes I just put classical music, which is very weird, but yeah, I do listen to it sometimes. Okay, so 12th of May, 25th of November. Let me check something. 12th of May, 25th of November. 12th of May, 26th. Was it 2025? Man, I'm such a genius sometimes. It was 2025, no? No. 2021, what am I talking about? 12th of May, 2021. Hmm. So when Zcash pumped and topped, you got a reversal on Bitcoin. And the next one was on the 25th, which I believe was near the top. Yeah. So you can see Zcash, that's an interesting thing to note. All-time high on Bitcoin, drop. This is when Zcash pumped. So it was pumping on this drop and bounce, and then Zcash topped and Bitcoin dumped. Same thing right here. Bitcoin had topped, Zcash started to pump. You moved into the top of Zcash and then continue lower. That is very interesting. That is very, very interesting. So this time, I mean, you'd have to predict the top, which is interesting enough. But if you top here, then I'd say this would be a good conference for continuation lower on Bitcoin, just because of the history of this coin. Yeah. Is there any relation? It's there. I don't know how. Just keep this in mind. I'm not gonna be using it because I have my own time strategy. I'm not gonna share this one, but yeah. Let's see. It's holding up, which I like. Again, guys, if we can pump tomorrow, that would be very nice for a target to the downside of $102,000. Hello, TGMF. I hope you're well, brother. Do you hold USD as cash? Yes. What else would you hold? Euros? You could hold euros. But, where is it? Yeah, maybe it's a bit expensive right now. And see, I had these two levels on euro. Yeah, right now it's a bit expensive. I think euro and dollar probably the best fiat money to hold at this point. Do you like that? Brother in Christ. Okay, so I think we don't have any more questions. Do you guys want me to cover any altcoin? I would like to cover one interesting altcoin. Maybe not Zcash because it's just so overextended. You have a resistance, but maybe a coin that looks a bit better. Litecoin, what happened to this? It's been a while. I just called the low on this coin and left it alone. Let me find something on Litecoin. Man, daily imbalance. This one didn't work. This looks strong. Litecoin looks very strong. Not gonna have a strong support below. I think it's ready to yeah, I think it's ready to move up if it wants to move up. Or else you just expect lower prices. So even Litecoin, not much to do. Not much to do on Litecoin. So if we can you look at INJ and Aave, of course. So we look at these two, and if we don't have any more questions, then we'll end the live right there. It's been going on for 50 minutes, so this should be long enough. Except of course if you guys have more questions. So INJ, they're in my list actually. Why am I searching for them? INJ, yeah, this coin. Probably want to dismiss it. Probably want to dismiss. Oh, that's interesting. That is in look low. Retest of the low. Man, that was a nasty rejection. Nasty. I mean, that's a big wick. I would say you could expect it to get recovered, but it's not the strongest coin. That's one thing. It's one thing. Not the strongest coin. Plus, I don't see the best level below. It's been in a downtrend since the crash. It's at the value area low. You could definitely look for this. You have volume on the low. 2 hourly imbalances on the low, right there. I'd say that's a decent low that it probably wants to hold. Just because the volume was decent, you hit the value area low. Took out the low one more time even with a nice wick and then pumped. Not the best coin to look at. I mean, the next support. Oh, you have a wickless daily imbalance. That's not good. Actually, that's not too bad because it's right at the lows. I don't mind it that much. I don't mind it. Okay, so that would make more sense now that I look at it. You take the midpoint. Yeah, $7 with the value area low. That would be it. Plus value area low. 12 hour. 4 hour. And you have this open. So this would have been your support. Of course, now it has bounced, but open. Do we have a 1 hour imbalance? We have a, that's a bit too much now. So yeah, that would have been your support. It would have been this candle right down here, which has offered support. I would say this probably has to hold in order for injective to go up. If it rejects, so you could, for example, drop one more time and then bounce. But if you lose this area, I would probably avoid this coin altogether until it shows strengths. We can look at Aave, we can look at Tau. Okay, Aave, I think it's also in my watch list. So Aave, this should be your support below. It has been tagged already, so just keep this in mind. Aave, Aave looks a bit better. I prefer this on Aave. Oh, daily imbalance. What would that be on the daily? 12 hour. Not bad, not bad. Not great. I'm struggling to find the best support levels on these coins. They're just so. I mean, you had this scam wick, which now has been recovered. You could have looked for the recovery of this, just been recovered now. That's a conference that's gone now. You probably want these lows. Same thing as, I mean, Injective could take the lows one more time. Ave, you probably want these lows to hold for high prices. Remind me of this coin next week, because right now I don't find the best levels. So if you're really interested in this coin, for now I don't see much. But remind me of this coin next week. Today I don't see much. And Tau, of course, this one is in my list or not. It isn't. Let me try to find something good on Tau. Okay. Ooh, that is very ugly. Very ugly. Engulfing pattern with a weekly imbalance. Oh, that'll be a weekly open. Let me remove this. That's not great. It's not bad, I guess. You look for the recovery of that for the midpoint at least. Okay, so this imbalance would definitely be a target to the upside. So 426 will get tagged in my opinion. To the downside, this support level is very nice. This looks very nice. That was the weekly open, right, of the imbalance. Yeah, that was it. Okay, so that would be a very good level on Tau. Very good level. Very small area, so you can just put a level if you want, or just make it bigger. You don't have to make it that big, but it's just because it's a small area, there's no point in putting it. Yeah, Tau, this should be your major support, I would say, to the downside. Around 320. So if you can jump to it before reaching this imbalance, that would be very important. Then you would get offered a very nice long position, in my opinion, to target again, this imbalance, which would give you a trade of, let's see how much, 35% pretty much. So that would be an amazing trade. If you can drop before filling this imbalance, then I would look for a price to get back into it and look at the weekly as well. That looks like the midpoint. Ooh, that is a very, very, very nice level. That looks like the midpoint. Yup, 433, 426. So that's pretty much the midpoint. And yeah, midpoint of this as well, I would say. 433. Yeah, that would be it. That would be it. That would be it. Any 12 hour, you have the open. Yup. So this would be your target to the upside. 430 to 426. If you can drop before reaching this area, then this should offer a fairly safe long position, in my opinion. If you pump first and then reject, then of course this would be a bit more bearish. If you drop first, so before taking this liquidity, that would be a fairly nice long position on Tau. So I would say today this is probably the best altcoin that we have covered. You have a clear support, a very good target. You have the imbalances to support it. I think everything looks good on this coin. We don't have a volume profile, of course, but yeah, you got my point. Quick look at silver also if you have time. We can look at silver. I mean, nothing has changed on silver. Nothing has changed. It's just been going sideways. But a reminder, silver and gold and stocks and Bitcoin, they are all related to the same thing. The dollar has its support. It has bounced. It has got its first break back above 100. right there. That's 100. You broke above it once again. So the dollar could continue higher and bring everything down. That's, you can see that's kind of what I was expecting, maybe a bit of sideways price action before moving higher. But that's, for me, that's the main thing that I'm looking at. Once again, look where gold, the dollar topped out. It was on this fib pocket, 1.618 to 1.66. Same pocket down here, 1.618, 1.66. So if the dollar has bottomed here and is ready to go higher, in my opinion, everything will drop. Stocks, Bitcoin, and gold and silver, actually. So not much has changed. Gold, the same Elliott wave count. If anyone is new, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The 5 looks extended enough from an Elliott wave perspective to expect a top. Do you want to be shorting gold? I don't think so. Do you want to be buying gold? Of course not. Why would you buy at $4,000 when you had years to buy it below $1,600? That doesn't make sense in my opinion. Again, so it's a very risky asset to short just because, as you can see, it has been going up very aggressively and it's very hard to find a resistance at this all-time high because it's just blue skies. Silver is a bit more, I would say, maybe not easy to trade, but you still have this all-time high to look at. So you broke above it and you had a swing failure pattern right now. But again, I don't think anyone is interested in shorting or silver or gold. If you are, I would be very, very careful. But nothing has changed for me on silver. I still think higher is due just because of this kind of quick Elliott wave count. 1, 2, 3. Be surprised if the 3 is done here. So ideally higher on silver. Personally, I did tell you I did sell on the pullback around $49. So I have sold silver as well. I have sold some stocks just because everything is very overextended in my opinion, and the main reasoning behind it is the dollar. Keep an eye on the dollar. If you think the dollar is gonna go higher, which I'm leaning towards, then you have to expect other assets to go lower. Thank you for today. We'll check out your course. Got to go. Thank you, Orange, for the kind comments. I do really appreciate it, especially for asking questions on the live stream. Everything is appreciated. And of course, if anyone can, it's free, it's quick. Could you leave a like on the live stream? It does help us a lot to reach more people and of course help more people not get wrecked as a lot did last week on this massive drop, which we did expect. So as usual, if you guys could leave a like on this live stream, it would be massively appreciated. But I think today that's enough for today. It's been almost an hour. Doesn't look like we have any more questions. I don't like to drag it on for too long. As you can see, price is continuing higher, so it does look like this plan, of course we didn't get the job to this kind of lower time frame support, but it does look like the Monday pump while leaving these imbalances behind could be playing out. So that would be very nice. And yeah. It was very good. Could you check link as well? Okay, guys, last coin because I've said I've said goodbye already. Last coin, link. Link looks very good as well. 2 daily imbalances. Look at this. Look at this. You don't have to ask. 4-hour imbalance filled to the dollar. To the dollar. Guys. Why'd you have to ask? Why'd you have to ask? Okay, let me see. I can remove this. Let me remove all of this. This is now. And look at link. Also, 12-hour imbalance rejection. It's been all imbalances on link. That's mainly what it's been. You can see just topped out on this 4-hour, which was also a 12-hour imbalance, and then rejected to fill the 4-hour imbalance, and now it's bouncing. So what did I do? What did I do? There it is. I think that's a good low on Link. That's a good low. I like it. But you've hit the support. That's the main thing. So Link, I like these lows. You probably don't want to lose them. To lose these. If you lose them, then I would expect a further drop, probably to $13. I forgot why I had this level. It's probably the midpoint of the week. That's why I had it. But these lows, I think it's a nice imbalance fill. You had nice volume on the drop. You had two early imbalances. You had a nice wick at the lows. I think everything looks good for this low on Link. So ideally right now you can target higher, this area, and then reverse lower. Let me look at some more things. We can look at the pivots on this one. Weekly pivot, that's done for now, so we don't need. Monthly pivot is still above, so you can target this one. What about the quarterly pivot? Looks like, yeah, it has been tagged. So monthly pivot is still above on Link. You have a good low. It's pumping nicely. I'm expecting a Monday pump on Bitcoin, so that would be your resistance above. I think that makes a lot of sense. Don't really need to elaborate on this. For the resistance, that would be it. That would be it. So not much to note on Link. I'm sorry, because the support has been tapped. Once again, it's an imbalance. You know my strategy, imbalance failure reverse. So if it can move up into, we can look for low time frame support, of course, if you want. Actually, we have this imbalance below. Click on the daily. I don't mind that. That's a good support. The daily 12 hour, that would be a nice support. 1 hour. Yeah, so 30 minutes. So if you can drop into this support, this can offer a nice long position. We can remove this and put it like this. Extend it a bit to the downside. Let me look at the 15 minutes. Yeah, I don't know. I think you can keep this low. So if you can drop into the support, then this could offer a nice long position on Link. Let me zoom back in. Okay, this analysis is being a bit long, value area high as well. So that would be your support. So support 15.5 to 15.6. So it's a very small area. If you can drop into it, bounce, reverse. So jump into this area, you open the long. If you get the reaction, of course, then you can target this area above, which would give you a return of, you can look for a long position. Don't like to use stop losses on these, but hard stop losses. But that would be a very easy, if it happens, 10 to 1 RRR. So very good trade on Link. I think that's a very, very, very nice support below. I really like it. Around 15.5. So that's it for Link. I don't think I'm gonna answer any more questions. It's been 1 hour. If you have more questions, I will give you time while I do the recap on Bitcoin. But that would be it for Link. Bitcoin, let's go back to it. What I would like to see for the recap is a Monday pump. As you can see, this was drawn literally before we got this pump. We are getting the pump as expected. The reason for that is that I wanted to leave these imbalances behind as a target for the short position should we get it tomorrow. This is the resistance above from 106.5 to 107.1, let's call it. If we can move up into it tomorrow, get imbalances, get reaction, I will take the short position. This will be the first target. Of course, if we drop into it and get a very good reaction, this can also offer a long position, maybe for a small bounce, maybe for a full reversal higher. Who knows? We'll have to see. But for now, my bias would be this: up into it, come back down to fill these imbalances, potentially bounce. So maybe it offers a long position, but overall, my bias. So to kind of give you a general image, I don't believe that the lows are in. I do believe that this resistance will get reached. So pump into it, offer the short position for reversal back down, and let's get $97,000. With all of that said, thank you all for all the comments, for all the questions. Thank you for everyone who liked the stream. I do really appreciate it. Thank you for everyone, I think I just said that, but who typed in the live chat, for asking questions, for just being here in general. Thank you everyone, and I do wish you all a very nice evening, and of course an end of the weekend. I'm so bad at ending live streams as always, but once again, thank you everyone. And with that said, I will see you all tomorrow morning inside the Discord. So thank you everyone.